When 24-year-old Sarah started her new job at a corporate firm, she expected the usual things: coffee-fueled mornings, office gossip, and tight deadlines. What she didn't expect was that her attention would be completely stolen by a man nearly twice her age. But there he was. Mr. Raymond. He wasn't like the young guys she knew. No loud cologne, no flashy watches, no Instagram-perfect outfits. Instead, he had a quiet presence, salt and pepper hair neatly combed back, calm but deeply observant eyes, and a voice so steady that it could calm the most chaotic meeting. Every time he spoke, Sarah found herself leaning in, not just to hear him, but to feel what he was saying. There was something magnetic about him. He didn't try to impress anyone, yet everyone naturally gave him respect. He walked slowly, confidently, like a man who had seen the world and didn't need to rush anymore. Sarah had met confident men before, but this was different. This wasn't performance, it was real. Most people jump to conclusions when they see a young woman interested in an older man. They say it's about money, or power, or some kind of daddy issues. But that's just the surface. The real reason is something most people never notice: a deeply attractive energy. It's not about physical age. It's about the way he moves, the way he listens, the way he makes you feel like time slows down when you're around him. Sarah herself couldn't fully explain it. She just knew that when Mr. Raymond walked into the room, everything felt more grounded, safer, more alive. And that's where the story really begins, because what younger women are truly drawn to in older men has very little to do with age. It has everything to do with the kind of presence that most people overlook, but once you feel it, you never forget it. When it comes to attraction, confidence is often at the top of the list, but not all confidence is created equal. Younger women aren't looking for the loudest guy in the room or someone who's always showing off. What really captures their attention is quiet confidence, the kind that comes from experience, not ego, and Mr. Raymond had it. He never bragged about his achievements. He didn't flash his phone, his car keys, or talk about how busy and important he was. Yet when a crisis hit in the office, when people were scrambling and the energy in the room turned frantic, Mr. Raymond stayed calm. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't criticize. He just observed, thought for a moment, and then gave a clear, practical solution. It was that calm leadership that caught Sarah's eye. He didn't dominate the space, he anchored it. His presence made her feel grounded, like things would be okay, even when they weren't perfect. Unlike many of the younger men Sarah had dated, guys who often masked insecurity with sarcasm or bravado, Mr. Raymond carried himself like someone who had already fought his battles. He didn't need to prove anything to anyone. That made his presence feel safe, solid, and deeply attractive. Sarah later told her best friend, "There's something about him. He doesn't need to show off. When he talks, I just want to listen. It's like he's seen so much of life that even his silence says something." That's the secret most people miss. Real confidence doesn't shout, it whispers. It's the man who listens more than he talks. It's the one who's comfortable with who he is and doesn't need validation every 5 minutes. For younger women who are often surrounded by chaos, confusion, and emotional immaturity, this kind of self-assured energy is magnetic. It represents something many crave but rarely find: stability in a stormy world. And once you feel that kind of presence, it becomes clear, it's not just confidence. It's confidence without ego. Here's something that isn't said enough: emotional intelligence is incredibly attractive. And it's something that many older men, through years of life experience, tend to carry naturally. Unlike many younger men still figuring themselves out, older men have usually already faced heartbreak, failure, disappointment, and transformation. They've dealt with real-life challenges that taught them how to navigate not just the world, but their own feelings. And that kind of maturity becomes obvious in the smallest of interactions. Sarah realized this the first time Mr. Raymond turned to her in a meeting and asked with genuine curiosity, "What do you think?" It wasn't just polite. It was real. He wanted to hear her opinion, not to correct it, not to impress her, but simply to understand her perspective. That moment stayed with her later, in more casual moments at lunch or during coffee breaks. Their conversations drifted into topics she rarely discussed with men her own age. They talked about books that had changed their thinking, about fears they'd overcome, about how relationships, when done right, are built on communication, not control. Sarah often found herself thinking, he listens to understand, not just to reply. That one difference changed everything. Younger women like Sarah are often tired of shallow conversations. They've had enough of texting games, half-hearted dates, and people who only want to talk about music, memes, or their latest gym session. What they really crave is depth, conversations that make them feel something, think deeply, and grow as a person. Older men, having lived more life, often bring that depth without even trying. They aren't afraid to talk about purpose, pain, dreams, and doubts. They're not scared to be vulnerable. And that emotional maturity creates a kind of intimacy that feels rare and real. In those honest moments, something powerful happens. A bond begins to form, one that's rooted in mutual respect and understanding, not just attraction, and when that bond clicks, it becomes obvious, this isn't about age. It's about connection that goes deeper than most people ever experience. Now, here's something truly underrated: older men don't try to control, they guide. And yes, there's a massive difference between the two. Sarah had always been fiercely independent, but like many people in their 20s, she often felt overwhelmed about the future. One afternoon, after a long meeting, she found herself confiding in Mr. Raymond. "Sometimes I just don't know if I'm on the right path," she admitted quietly. He didn't try to fix her. He didn't offer a list of things she should or shouldn't do. Instead, he simply smiled and said, "You'll figure it out. Don't rush. Just learn something new every day, and keep showing up." Those few words stayed with her for weeks. It wasn't advice, it was reassurance. The kind that comes from someone who's been through their own uncertainties and knows that forcing answers never helps. He didn't try to direct her life. He trusted that she'd find her own way, and that, right there, is the difference between guidance and control. Younger men sometimes feel the need to prove their dominance. They interrupt, correct, or try to fix the women they're with, often without realizing it. But older men, like Mr. Raymond, have learned that true strength lies in supporting someone's growth, not managing it. They give you space to breathe, space to think, and space to become the version of yourself you choose, not the version they want to mold. Mr. Raymond never texted her 10 times a day. He didn't hover or play games. He showed up when it mattered and stayed quiet when she needed space. That balance, being present without being overpowering, made Sarah feel respected, not pressured. For many younger women, this is what stands out the most. It's the calm, mature energy that says, "I'm here if you need me, but I trust you to make your own choices." And that kind of gentle support? It's not weakness. It's wisdom, and it's one of the most powerful forms of connection a man can offer. At the end of the day, Sarah never sat there thinking, "He's older than me." That wasn't what drew her in. What kept pulling her closer was something deeper, something that had nothing to do with years, but everything to do with how he made her feel. He made her feel safe. He made her feel seen. He made her feel heard. And in today's fast-moving, noisy world, that kind of connection is rare. What truly turns younger women on about older men isn't just age, it's what often comes with it. Calmness in chaos. Older men don't panic over small things. Their steady energy is grounding. Depth in conversation. They can talk about real things, life, growth, purpose, without feeling awkward or lost. Emotional maturity. They know how to handle emotions, not suppress them or explode with them, but truly process and communicate. Subtle confidence. They don't need to show off. Their quiet self-assurance speaks louder than any flashy gesture. And perhaps most importantly, presence. When they're with you, they're really with you. No distractions. No games. Just presence. Sarah realized that what she felt for Mr. Raymond had little to do with physical attraction at first. It was about how her nervous energy softened around him. How her overthinking paused. How she didn't feel like she had to be anyone else but herself. That kind of emotional comfort is rare, and incredibly powerful. It's easy for people to judge relationships with an age gap from the outside. They label it a fantasy, or assume it's transactional. But the truth is often much simpler and more beautiful. It's about connection. The kind that cuts through the noise. The kind that makes you feel held without being controlled. The kind that doesn't care about numbers, but values presence. Sarah didn't fall for Mr. Raymond's age. She fell for his energy. And once you understand that, you realize, this is the part no one really talks about, until now.